We all remember this as one of the most iconic moments in arm wrestling.
Where are you going, buddy?
But there is a short, interesting story behind this. Arm Wrestling Storytime Part 2. So the story goes back to UAL 8 2014. John Brzenk and Jerry Caderet teamed up to beat Monster Michael Todd. Why? Well, John himself answered that question for us. Both Jerry and I wanted badly to beat Michael, to kick him off that high horse that he was on. We kinda somewhat teamed up against the organization that was seemingly giving Michael the good draw. So John basically took the approach of either I take a loss or you take a loss with Jerry. And Jerry ended up taking that loss to John Brzenk. Jerry laid his arm down to John so that both of them are fresh. Michael had a 20-second match with Richard Lupkis, and John beat Lupkis in less than 2 seconds with his overwhelming top roll. Then after that, Michael had a 2-minute war with Jerry Caderet, and as we discussed, John pinned Jerry in less than a second. So just to put things into perspective, recently Gennady proved to have a better endurance than Devon, and even he got gassed out against Jerry's press. So we can only imagine how much Michael was tired at that time. So long story short, somehow Michael was able to make his way to the finals, and waiting for him, standing across the table, was a fresh and strong John Brzenk. About their final match, John said, and I quote, "It was difficult even with the help of Jerry wearing him down like he did to beat that King's move. It's especially difficult for me because I'm not a good shoulder roller. It's not something that I trained for." John looked to be in good position against Michael, but Michael was putting so much pressure on John's hand and wrist that he had to decide to go for that press early, and still you can see John's wrist went back just a little bit trying to finish Michael Todd. In the recent Pulsio TV podcast, John said that had Michael tried the same move once again in the second round, he could have possibly beaten me that day. But Michael realized that his outside move, aka the King's move, was already exhausted, and he went for an inside hook, and John got the pin. Whether that was a pin or not, that discussion should be left for a separate day. John thinks it was, and Michael thinks it wasn't. So now that we know the whole story behind this, do you think Michael saying this to John
You can't pin that arm.
and acting like this after he lost was somewhat justified? His frustration was somewhat justified? Or maybe not? Mention in the comments, like the video, share this if you can. My name is Pradeep, and I'll see you again.